Folks, today I am talking to current Tampa Bay Buccaneers undrafted free agent safety, Mr. Kedrick Whitehead. Kedrick played football at the University of Delaware and has now made his way over to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Kedrick, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. I appreciate you for having me on today.
I appreciate you for being here, man. And look, we just talked just a couple of minutes ago about this. It's been a whirlwind for you, right? And we will dive into it, right? We will, because there's a lot to discuss with what you've been up to the past couple of months. I'm sure your life has been crazy, but even just this weekend alone, it's Memorial Day weekend or the day after, whenever we're talking about this, and you had to move from Delaware over to Florida, man. That's not an easy thing to do to just say, hey, by the way, I'm going to pack up all my stuff and move down to Florida from Delaware. It's a little crazy, right?
Right. Absolutely. Definitely.
Yeah, so it definitely, I imagine, has been one heck of an experience for you. And I thank you for taking the time to sit down here to talk with me during this crazy time in your life that I think is just the start of a lot of really cool things for you, man. But look, I want to go ahead and start this conversation off. Let's go all the way back, right? So you are a football player, right? You play for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now. You played for the University of Delaware, but even going back further than that, before high school, before everything, I want to talk about what made you want to take this journey of playing football, not just for college, but then coming to the NFL and saying, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to leave Delaware. I'm going to go move to Florida. I'm going to play in the NFL. What made you want to take this journey, this crazy journey, I guess me and you can both say, of playing football for your career? And when did you know this is something you wanted to do for your career?
Yeah, definitely. I would say what made me want to take this journey is just all the experiences leading up to this point, whether it be the workouts, whether it be the relationship building, whether it be making plays on the field. Everything about the game of football is just something that I fell in love with at a young age. And I knew it's something I wanted to pursue for as long as God would allow me to. So as long as I can get up and run around and make those plays, I'm going to do it because I'm blessed with the ability to do so. And not everybody has that ability. So I know that, God blessed me with these talents. And I definitely want to put them to good use. And not only just the talents on the field, but also the off the field. Like I touched on the relationship building, like that's a big piece of it for me. Being able to be a leader in the field and in the locker room and being able to, like football is so special because it's not the only thing, but it's one of the only things that, bring together so many different walks of life. So, you have guys from Wyoming, South Dakota, North Carolina, wherever, from Delaware, and guys with different backgrounds, different religions, different races, and all coming together just to, try to achieve one common goal. And at the end of the day, that's to win. So that's probably what, made me want to pursue this journey as a lifelong goal. And that's really what's pushed me to this point so far. What was the second part of your question?
When did you know you wanted to do this for
Right,
your
right.
career?
Right. That's a hard one, Like I said, I always know, and I've always known that, as long as I could, I would continue to want to, but I didn't really know that it was going to be feasible because we know not everybody makes it to the highest level of football. The NFL is the highest level possible of football. It doesn't get any higher than that. I would say probably around high school, I think. Little league, everybody's good. I feel like, well, not everybody's good, but being good in little league is just like, okay, like I'm more advanced than these kids. That's not really. I didn't give myself too much credit for that. In high school, kind of the same thing. But I gave myself a little bit more credit, and my mom and my family really got behind me, and they really instilled in me the fact that I'm actually good. I try to not pat myself on the back too much, and say that I can do this, I can do that. But hearing it from other people, that really fueled me, especially it being my family and close family saying, we think that you can make this a profession. We think we can make this career. I was just doing it because I had fun. You know what I'm saying? So I would say, as I got through high school and then in the college when I started getting more accolades, whether it be all American accolades multiple times, whether it be all conference accolades multiple times, that also, fueled me a little bit as well.
Yeah, and I think that whenever we talk about that, motivators, right? That's kind of another follow up question I have is you talked about your mom, your family being some of the biggest motivators for you for your playing career, and obviously it worked out for you. You got a ton of those accolades while you were playing in college football. What would you say? Who would you say, and what have been some of the biggest motivators for you in your playing career, along obviously with your family, and why?
Yeah, definitely. Um, So I would say probably my top one, and this has been since high school, is the first time that I really had to reflect on this. In high school, I went to Middletown High School out of Middletown, Delaware,
Hmm.
and every summer we would go to a summer camp where we spent the weekend with each other, and there was also other teams there. It was away from home camp. It was in Westchester, PA. It was a great experience, and one of the team bonding activities we had was asking each other why we will wake up every day and grind with each other, sweat with each other, bleed with each other. And for me, one of the main motivators was trying to basically outdo what my father had done. He was a pretty decent football player. He played at Temple for a little bit. He didn't make it to NFL, however, but at that time, being in high school, making it to the next level was the main thing on my mind. Not making it to NFL, just making it to that college level for free. So that was probably my main motivator.
Yeah, and what was the reaction like whenever you did reach that goal, right? In terms of like, okay, I'm playing for the University of Delaware, obviously the place where you're from, so that had to mean a ton to you, right?
Right. Absolutely. I was extremely blessed to come up with that opportunity to play for my home state. And I kind of had a chip on my shoulder and still do, just off the fact that I felt coming out of high school, I was making plays on both sides of the ball. I've been to multiple state championships. I was named all state multiple times, multiple years in a row, and I didn't have a lot of opportunities at the next level. University of Delaware was really the only school who was willing to take a chance on me. So I had a chip on my shoulder, especially playing in the CAA, which was the conference that Delaware plays in. There was multiple schools in that conference, multiple coaches that I was reaching out to, during my recruiting trail and trying to, get on their radar, get recruited by them. So I really made it a stamping point in my process, playing those teams and playing everybody to show them, they passed up on a great player.
Yeah, and I think that we will talk about that ship, right? And how you view competition and all those different types of things too. Um, but I think that that's so important, right? To just have that awesome story, to be able to have those awesome moments. Obviously, play for your hometown university is such a cool thing. One thing that I did want to make a note of too is how active you are just as a guy in like a community, right? I remember when I was reaching out to you, I noticed like you were already inquiring about opportunities to reach out in the Tampa Bay community, and you literally just moved here, man. And I know it's a very similar thing that you were doing in Delaware. So like what is that makes you want to be such an active guy in the communities in terms of looking for those opportunities? And is it with leadership? Is it because of those experiences that you've had? Is it because of that chip on your shoulder and just looking to help out people how you feel you've been helped out? Kind of what goes into that process?
Yeah, that's a good question. I haven't really thought about that. I'm not sure what makes me, motivated to go out and want to help others. I guess I was just born that way. I guess I was just raised that way. It's something that I've always done, whether it be in high school doing things for the community, helping out things with younger kids or whomever. Throughout college, same thing. Doing community service, helping out younger kids, motivating the youth, however that may fit. So I guess that's just something that I've always done, and I just want to continue to do it.
Yeah, no, and again, I just wanted to commend you for that because that's something you don't see every day, right? And I think it's a very respectable, very awesome thing that you were doing already, reaching out for Tampa Bay opportunities to just be a part of the community, man. I think that is very cool. Now, I do want to shift gears for a moment. You did talk about a lot of the accolades that you got at Delaware, and there was a lot of them, right? You got a ton of accolades there. What would you say is your favorite honor that you received and why?
I would say my favorite honor out of all my accolades throughout my collegiate career, is probably one that flies under the radar. It's called the Blue Hen Award. And basically, what the Blue Hen Award was something that's given out by our school, and it's given to somebody who embodies the true spirit of a blue hen. So, that really meant a lot to me because it's being from Delaware, living there my whole life, and seeing that my hard work both on and off the field was being recognized and acknowledged, because not everybody sees that all the time. Not everybody sees all the work that you do both on the field and off the field. So the Blue Hen Award, or AKA the 302 Award, is a blue hen, one who leads, one who aspires of championship caliber, to be strong, focused, dedicated, to be passionate and inspiring, to be a part of a family. So I was presented that award at the student athlete banquet, and that's probably the one that I have the favorite. The on the field ones are cool. First team All American, first team All Conference, that stuff is cool. But to hear that my work both on and off the field, my leadership capabilities, all those put together, I think that's my favorite one.
Well, I am happy you said that because that was actually my follow up question. I'm not joking, Kedrick. I literally wrote on here, you were given the 302 award in college because you defined what it meant to be a player from the University of Delaware. You already talked about what getting that award meant to you. You just said it. But I want to ask you, what, in your opinion, what does it mean to be a player from the University of Delaware? I know that, we've had a few guys go to the NFL level. Joe Flacco's a guy that's gone up there. A teammate of yours, Johnny, I cannot remember his last name, but linebacker, he had a tryout with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and now you're coming into the NFL as well. So we've had a few guys from the University of Delaware recently come and make their way into the NFL. In your opinion, what do you think it means to be the embodiment of being a guy from the University of Delaware?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a lot of great guys that have made it to the next level. Also, Nasir Adderley, second round draft pick to the
Yeah.
Chargers. Also, Troy Reader, Super Bowl champion, with the Rams. I would say, but to be a blue hen and being a player from the University of Delaware, just tradition is the first thing that comes to my mind. Embodying that rich tradition of football and embodying all the things that we talked about what the 302 award stands for, whether it be inspiring, whether it be leading, all that stuff is really what it means to me. And I'm glad that I made the choice to play for my hometown and my home state. Although I didn't have many other choices, but I think everything worked out for me.
Now, you did just talk about leading, right? As being, part of that embodiment of being a blue hen, of being a guy from the University of Delaware. You were a team captain at Delaware for 3 years. Now, that is a very impressive feat in of itself. You've obviously talked about how you've led both on the field and off the field. How would you define your leadership style in terms of leading guys in a locker room, both on and off the field?
I would say adaptive. One thing I pride myself off of on my leadership style is that I can see the person and I can understand what type of leading that they need. Not everybody needs to be led the same. Throughout my times being leaders, and that's been my whole life from little league, high school, I've always been a captain. I've always been a leader. Even when I wasn't a captain, like my freshman year at the University of Delaware, I still was a leader. I would take leading from the bottom to seriously. I would take that to heart. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, though, I would be able to see, and I still am able to see, what everybody needs. And not everybody's led the same. Like I said, one guy might need you to scream in his face and get mad. One guy might need you to, pat him on the back and tell him, everything's going to be okay. So to be able to see how people react to different leadership styles and be able to, adapt my leadership style to said person, it's helped me a lot. Obviously, I'm able to be vocal. Well, not obviously because, not everybody sees that, but I'm also able to be vocal and, whether I be in the huddle, whether I be with a team all up, all things of that nature. But leading by example is also another way that I pride myself. And that is huge when it talks about leading from the bottom, because when you're from the bottom, when you're at the bottom of the totem pole, not everybody's going to listen to everything that you have to say. But hard work doesn't go unnoticed. Everybody sees what you do.
Yeah, and where do you think you developed that style of leadership? Where do you think you developed your leadership in the first place?
Yeah, it's a great question. I would say obviously, like I said, pre high school, I was definitely a leader, and I can recall myself being a leader on those teams. But I don't really count that for much, just because those are kids, those are child. It's not, it shouldn't. And it's funny that I'm about to say this because it sounds backwards, but I guess I'm just wired a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? I was going to say, it shouldn't be hard to be a leader as a kid, but that's probably the hardest times because you don't have, everything instilled in you. You haven't experienced a lot, so you're just going with the flow. But in high school, going to Middletown High School, I had a lot of great leaders in front of me, and that's where I was able to develop, my adaptive leadership style. I've seen guys when I got to ninth grade, I had guys that were leading me at Middletown High School, which was another great program with another rich tradition. I'm super thankful that I went there. But I seen those guys leading, and I took, the good and the bad from them. I said, okay, those are the good things I saw, and I seen some bad things. Okay, that's something I'm make sure I don't do when I have my turn to lead. And I gained my turn to lead at Middletown High School pretty early, 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade. I was also pretty much a captain at those levels as well. So I had multiple years where I was, captain multiple years in a row. So I think, Middletown definitely helped me shape that adaptive leadership style.
So you would say like a lot, yeah. I mean, and that just from hearing you say that, I mean, you saw, you basically learned adaptability just from seeing the guys in front of you and saying, okay, I know what I need to do for these types of situations. I need to know what I don't need to do for these types of situations. Like, it essentially was just watching and learning from the guys in front of you, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that is awesome to see, man. And like I said, like it is a really cool thing to see that adaptability. I think it's so important to have that type of leadership. It's huge, man. It really is. I do want to go ahead and change and talk about this pre-draft process. You talked a little bit earlier about how you've been, off camera. Me and you were talking about how you've been to Florida a couple of times. You've been training around here for the combine and whatnot. And I want to talk about this pre-draft process because I thought you had such an interesting process in terms of marketing yourself to teams. I thought it was so cool. You have your own website. Kedrick Whitehead Jr.com, I believe is the name of it, something along those lines. And
Right.
I think this is so cool and something I personally have not seen from any types of players. You've got your playing film on there. You've got your pro day film on there. You've got a list of your stats and accolades on there, as well as your measurables. That is so cool. How did you develop that marketing idea in terms of this pre-draft process? What made you kind of go with that strategy? And how would you describe your pre-draft process throughout this?
Yeah, definitely. I would say I developed that idea um just from staying up to date with everything that I do. I wouldn't say I developed the idea. It's always been an idea. So I've had the website for, a little over a year and a half now. I initially started the website um just to market myself. Obviously with the growing space and evolving space of NIL, that's what it originated for me, website wise.
Okay.
It was an easy one-stop shop for companies and brands to see me and also to be able to contact me and also be able to see all of my social medias in one spot and everything that I've done accolade wise. And just moving that forward throughout my life. And as I, progress my career in the NFL now, I'm be sure to add stuff to my website too. Just, it's me. So I'm going to keep it up to date, and that's what I've been doing. And I think it was a great idea for me to market myself that way as well, just because, I'm a small school guy. So I didn't have I'm not going to say ability, but I didn't have really the opportunity to just be at a bigger school where people would know my name just off of the fact that I'm at said school. You know what I'm saying? So that's probably that on that. Tell me the last part of the question again. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, no, it's quite all right. So how would you describe your experience with your pre-draft process?
Right. Tough experience, honestly. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
The beginning was great. I spent a lot of money going down to Florida at a very good facility. Pretty much my life savings. I spent all my money to get to Florida and train and be down here for 2 months leading up to my pro day. Um, I ended up tweaking my hamstring exactly 1 month before my pro day. So I was injured and I wasn't able to run at my pro day, which I feel like set me back a little bit. So that hurt me, and I was hurt about that both physically and mentally. But I was able to overcome that just by, doing what I could. I feel like I had film and accolades that spoke for itself, regardless if I could run at the time or not. Um, and that just it all landed me here. So I'm not in any shape or form upset about what happened. I'm super thankful and I'm super blessed to be in the position I'm in either way. But that was just something that really was the sticking point of my pre-draft process.
And I want to say this, like, I don't think that's something a lot of people think about, right? Is like, again, just for you to come down to Florida and train to have a chance to come to the NFL, huge risk, a huge risk. Would
Right.
you would you say that was one of your bigger challenges in terms of your football career so far up to this point, is like taking that risk?
No, I wouldn't say taking the risk was a huge challenge because I'm a chips all in type of guy.
Okay.
I put every dollar I had saved up, and I had a lot saved up from just working my whole life. I had a job throughout my whole college career, being a personal trainer, sports development specialist at Alpha Training, which is a sports development gym, sports performance gym in Delaware. So I had a lot saved up, and I spent it all to get here, and I'm chips all in. Like I said, this is my dream, so I'm gonna do and pay whatever it takes to achieve my goals. So I wouldn't say that was the case at all. But I would say it was tough, with the whole process and how everything went down. It wasn't an easy process at all.
Yeah, and speaking of that, chips all in type of mentality, we talked about this earlier. Having a chip on your shoulder, from your time at the University of Delaware. You came into the NFL now in your rookie season, now undrafted in this recent draft. What did that do to motivate you coming into the NFL? Put even more of a chip on your shoulder. I know it's like a cliche thing, right, to say like I have a chip on my shoulder, but like, what did that do to motivate you?
Yeah. My motivation was already through the roof. So whether I was drafted first round, first overall, or whether I was undrafted like I was, it wouldn't change my motivation at all. I think it adds to my motivation that I'm on the same team as, a alma mater high school teammate of mine, Chris Godwin. So seeing him every day and having a familiar face, somebody who bleeds blue like me, that adds to my motivation. But I don't think me going undrafted adds anything, because like I said, my motivation's through the roof already. This is the goal that I set out to myself to achieve. So whether I was first round, first overall, whether I was undrafted like I was, I'm extremely motivated and I'm ready to get to work.
No, and I think that's a great thing to see. Obviously, we'll talk about competition here in a little bit, but now you were invited to the Buccaneers rookie minicamp shortly after the draft. Okay, now at that point it was just an invite. It was just a tryout. There wasn't necessarily a guarantee there. How did that come about? What was your reaction to getting that invitation to come to that rookie minicamp?
Right. So after the draft, I didn't hear anything from any teams. And then there's a first wave of rookie mini camps that first weekend after the draft. I still didn't hear anything from any teams. And then we're moving on to the second weekend of rookie mini camp with the rest of the teams. And I didn't hear anything about until like 2 days before the Bucs rookie mini camp. And that's when I heard from the Bucs, and I was extremely excited. And I knew that, all I needed was to get in front of somebody, and then they were going to have a hard time sending me home. So whether it be the Bucs, whether it be any team in the league, that was my goal after the draft ended and I was undrafted, just get in front of somebody. The opportunity came about through a close friend of mine, Chris Godwin, like we talked about. I
Yeah.
think he was able to put in a good word for me just to get the opportunity. Obviously, somebody in the Buccaneers building saw my tape and saw that I could play. Otherwise, I'm not just going to give anybody and everybody opportunity. So
Right.
I'm thankful that obviously I had the film and the accolades to back it up, which I knew I did. I know I can play. So
Yeah.
me going undrafted and not hearing anything from anybody until 2 weeks after the draft, I was getting discouraged a little bit, but I knew that, I just needed the opportunity. So I wasn't really tripping too bad about it. I just was, keeping my head down low, continue to work out every day, continue to stay ready. And rookie minicamp came, and I just did everything that I could, everything in my power to show them who I am. And it wasn't anything extra. It was me being me. And me being me is enough for people to see that this kid can play. This kid has the tangibles both on and off the field. So they kept me around, and I'm looking forward to, continue to get to work with the Buccaneers.
Yeah, and obviously, a lot of people are excited to have you here. You did say something that was interesting there with Chris Godwin. Obviously, you were both from Middletown. You have that connection there. You said he was a good friend of yours. How would you describe that relationship with Chris Godwin? How did you two become such good friends?
Yeah, I would describe the friendship as um almost big brother little brother type vibe, just because he's a little bit older than me. So my freshman year at Middletown was his freshman year of college at Penn State, so I missed him by 1 year. But I played with his wife's, both her brothers, so they
Okay.
have obviously a super close relationship with Chris and their family, obviously. So, and I have a super close relationship with them, almost to say that we're family. So it's kind of a match made in heaven that way. Um, it started out as friends through friends in that capacity. Obviously, we're bonded together by that Middletown football relationship. Always. So he's always going to be, in my corner and always going to have my back in every capacity. And I was able to, become better friends with him throughout my high school career as he, watched his wife's brothers, dominate the field with me. And actually his wife's brother, Anthony Del Percio, is one of the leaders that I took some leadership skills and qualities from as well. So my freshman year was his sophomore year, and he was one of the main leaders of the team, and I was able to learn a lot from him. And my freshman year was their oldest brothers, Chris's wife's brother. Sorry, this is getting like a lot of
it's a web, man. It's a web.
it is. So that was his senior year, and he was the main leader. So he was the main leader, and then his little brother was like the secondary leader, and then I was right behind them guys, and I was learning a lot from them. So we became really close over the years, and I'm just thankful to have all of them on my team and in my corner.
Yeah, and like how does it feel now? Like I know you said it was exciting to be playing with Chris, but like does it feel like kind of unreal? Like I know
Yes.
obviously you've had a little bit of time now to adjust, but like this has got to be a great feeling cuz you were always just obviously, you were just a year from playing with Chris Godwin, time and time again, and now you're here with him finally. That's got to be a great feeling,
Right.
right?
Right, absolutely. It feels surreal. Like last practice we had the other day, there was a play on the field where like we are on the same side and I was covering him basically and the ball didn't come our way, but it was just like after the play we were both jogging back to the line of scrimmage and we were just chopping it up and it was crazy. I'm like, wow, like this is crazy. Like I really liked it a lot.
Would you say Chris has like been a really just in obviously in terms of I know you said you obviously Chris's wife's two brothers, you took a lot of leadership and a lot of things from them. Would you say you've taken a lot from Chris in terms of viewing him almost as like a mentor, and like I know you said big brother little brother type of relationship. Would you say you've taken a lot from Chris as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Professionalism is probably the first thing that comes to word for me. And work ethic. Just seeing how he shows up every day. You know, OTAs are voluntary. Well, for the veterans at least.
Yeah.
And he's the guy that's there every single day. I haven't seen him miss a day yet, and I can't say the same about everybody on the team. But seeing that, he's a guy who's got paid, got to the second contract. He's done a lot. He's won a Super Bowl, done all these great things. That he still shows up each and every day. Ready to come to work, and that's something that I'm taking from him constantly and currently and I'm excited to continue to do that.
No, and I do think that's phenomenal, man. And that's why I love conversations like this because you get those types of connections that you don't even think about. You know what I mean? And I think that is such a cool moment, just a cool thing for you to have right now. You're literally down here with a guy that you view as your big brother. That's such a cool thing for you to experience, man. Now, speaking of experiences, you had your first rookie mini camp in the NFL just a couple of weekends ago. How was that?
Yeah, it was awesome, just being in the NFL building for one, like was amazing. Being able to take it all in, being in the facilities, on the field, it was great. It was great vibes out there, great competition. It was some great football going on. A lot of plays, a lot of install being thrown at us really quickly. So being able to absorb that and being, mentally sharp was something that I benefited from. But it was an amazing opportunity, and I'm glad that they were able to see what I could do, and I was glad that I was able to show them why, I deserve a chance.
Yeah, and what would you say were some positives that you took away from that mini camp and some things that you learned from it? Obviously, you said being in an NFL building, being in the NFL environment now, that's obviously a pretty big change from college. So, what were some of those positives? What were some of those things that you learned?
Yeah, definitely. I would say I learned a lot about, what it takes to be great at this level, what it takes to stay at this level. I built a lot of relationships early, even in just those short 3 days at rookie minicamp. I met a lot of great people. And one thing that I was able to take away for sure was being able to see that, it's not too far off from college. I mean, it's people are bigger, faster, stronger, which they always say, cool, whatever. But football is football at the end of the day. At the end of the day, it's 11 guys versus 11 guys. They're either going to run it or pass it and we're going to play ball. So that was one thing that I was able to learn and able to see early, like within the first practice, within the first period of practice. I was like, okay, like I'm here now. Obviously my path is different than the next guy, but at the end of the day, we're just playing football, and I know I'm good at football, so let's do it.
And who were some of those guys that you were able to really like form some of those bonds with or get to know better and just kind of have that connection with while at the rookie mini camp?
Yeah, I would say definitely the guys in my room. Definitely Merriweather, and definitely Christian. Definitely some guys that I was able to get close with. There was actually another guy in my room that I trained with during the pre-draft process named Hunter. And yeah, we were able to bond pretty good. And having Coach Rapone in the room, he actually coached at Delaware my freshman year. So I was able to see him as a familiar face as well.
No, that's awesome. And were there any interesting like moments or feelings that you experienced from that weekend?
Everything was interesting. Everything was a special moment. Like I said, it's the NFL. It's what I aspired to get to, and I was finally there, and I'm finally here. So like everything was special.
Yeah. Now after rookie minicamp, you signed with the Bucs as an undrafted free agent. Like, boom, here's your contract, officially an undrafted free agent. Did you know that was going to happen coming away from the rookie minicamp? Because I know you said you came in, you obviously put your name out there, put your play out there, and you felt really good about that coming out of the rookie minicamp. But did you know that was going to happen, or were you surprised? Did you feel a contract was coming? And like, what emotions and reactions did you have when you got offered that contract?
Right. I wouldn't say I was surprised because I came down here with the intent to stay down here. I didn't have any plans on going back. I came down here to earn my contract. That was basically what was said to me. While we talked about having my invite to the Bucs was like, we're just going to give you a chance. That's what they said, straight like that. And to me, that means you're going to give me a chance to earn my spot. So I packed heavy and I came down here and did what I had to do to earn my chance. And that granted me a contract, and I'm excited to do a lot with that. When I got the contract, the feeling was like accomplished, but still hungry. So it was a feeling where I was like, it kind of felt like when I got my first offer to college. Like I felt accomplished, but I felt still hungry because I knew I was being overlooked. And I knew there was more to be done.
No, and I think that that's obviously something that's motivated you throughout your entire career, of course, saying, hey, I'm not done yet. I'm going to keep on pushing. I'm going to keep on going and not be satisfied, right? Like, that's the biggest thing. Or maybe not satisfied, but like not complacent is a good word to use, right? To not be complacent with, hey, I got a contract here. Cool. This is all good. It's no, I got a contract. Great. Now I'm going to make them keep me on this contract and give me
Right,
another one and another
right,
one after that, right?
right.
Yeah, no, so that's no, that is a great mentality to have, man. And now we are currently in OTAs. You talked about it already. You went up against Chris one on one, which I think is just even cool in of itself, man. Where the vets and the rookies are coming to play together. Are you noticing any differences in these practices between the OTAs and the rookie mini camp?
Um, I would say it's a little bit more organized just because everybody knows, what's coming up, what's next, in terms of practice structure, speaking more specifically towards the vets than the rookies. When you have out there 50, 60 rookies and nobody knows, what the next period is going to be, everybody's like waiting to see and everybody's scrambling. Like here, it's not like that. It's not too much faster than what I felt rookie minicamp was. More install things of that nature. The schedule's a little bit different, a little bit more meetings. There a little bit longer, there a little bit earlier. But still pretty similar.
Yeah, and how would you describe, obviously, your thoughts on Todd Bowles' defense so far? I know you obviously have experience with Nick Rapone, the safeties coach. He coached at Delaware with you for a little bit, but like, what do you think of Todd Bowles' defense as a whole so far, with him being the head coach and everything?
Oh man, I love the defense. I'm a defensive guy. I'm a guy who prides myself on being, pretty cerebral, and being able to have the knowledge. At Delaware, I was making all the checks, changing the calls, calling the coverages and things of that nature. So I like, being involved in the defense, and I like seeing the structure, how all the pieces come together, whether it be a guy blitzing here, a guy dropping here, disguising the coverage this way and rolling it that way. I like all of that. So seeing this defense and each install that we get, there's something more and more added to it. I'm like, wow, that's tough. Like that's hard. Like I like that a lot. So yeah, I'm really loving it.
So you say it would be like it's like a welcomed challenge, right? All
Yeah.
these things that they're having you do for the defense, and like how have you noticed the differences between in terms of those installs and in terms of the level of obviously all that information you have to put in between like Todd Bowles defense and the defense you were working with in Delaware?
Yeah. I would say one of the biggest things, just structurally, is obviously at Delaware, I played in a 3 down front, where here it's more of a 4 down front. At Delaware, we played with a 3 safety structure. Here it's obviously a 2 safety structure. So all throughout my college career at Delaware, I really didn't have a free safety or strong safety role. It was more of a field or boundary type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much a bigger difference for me. I didn't really have a lot of opportunities to just play in the post at Delaware. I was playing a lot of man to man in the field. So now I'm playing a lot more post coverage, a lot more half field coverage, which I did do at Delaware, just not as, consistent as it is here in this structure. So that's probably the biggest difference, biggest change, those couple of things. But all in all, like I said, it's football, so
Yeah,
can't get far off.
it's just 11 on 11, man. You know how it is.
That's it.
Well, hey, listen. So a couple more questions here. I got two more. Now, listen. Right now with the Buccaneers safety room, there's a fair amount of competition. There's a lot of guys in there competing for a lot of spots, both at the safety position and for special teams play as well. How do you view yourself in this competition, and how do you view competition in general?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of great guys in the room. It's a lot of great athletes, great football players in the room for sure. Between the vets and the rookies and some second year guys. Some good competition in there, absolutely. I view competition the way I've always viewed it. It's I don't really see competition. I feel like it's me versus me. It's every day, what can I do to get better? How can I compete against myself? How can I be a better Kedrick Whitehead Jr. than I was yesterday? And if you continue to get better every day as a person, then you should be on a good path. It's when you start trying to compare yourself to others and what others can do in others' game, that's when you start getting yourself in trouble. I can't compare myself to, Winfield because I'm not allowed to make the same mistakes he can make because, he's been here longer. He's proved himself already. So I see me in my competition versus me. So if I can beat myself every day, I'm getting better, then that's all I can ask for. Because at the end of the day, if I continually improved and continually progressed and got better each and every day, then I'll be satisfied with myself no matter the outcome.
And what have you pulled? Obviously, you talked about Winfield Jr. I know Ryan Neal is there as well as a veteran safety. Like, what have you pulled from those guys? I know you've only had a few days to work with them, but like, what have you noticed from them or pulled from them to be like the best version of Kedrick Whitehead Jr. that you can be so far?
Yeah. So far I've been keeping a really close eye on Winfield. I've been able to see that, everything that he's capable of doing, I feel like I've either done in my career or I'm capable of doing, whether it be skill set wise, whether it be technique wise. One thing that I really like that he does every day in practice is one, show up and one, finish every play, whether it be making a tackle or not making tackles, because obviously we can't tackle right now, but
Right.
finishing in a good body position where he would make a tackle in the game. I've studied his tape a lot coming out of college, even before I got the call from the Bucs, just because we're similar in stature. And if he can do it, then I feel like I can do it too. And like I said, a lot of things that he's done on the field, making plays wise, I've seen myself do. And I really look up to him as a player. I think he's an awesome player. I think all those guys are really great players, and I'm trying to take something from all their games.
That's great. And listen, Kedrick, the last question I got for you. It's kind of a deep question. I always ask this to all the guys whenever I have them in here. What should Bucs fans and NFL fans expect from Kedrick Whitehead Jr. moving forward in his NFL career, both as a player and as a person?
Absolutely. I think both Bucks fans and NFL fans should look forward to Kedrick Whitehead Jr. being somebody who's electric, enthused, and somebody who's going to make plays both on the field and off the field. When it comes to making plays, it's not just about making tackles and receptions, PBUs, touchdowns, whatever the case may be. We talk about off the field. We already talked about it a little bit, touching on getting into the community. When you're at this level of publicity or fame, whatever you want to call it, there's a different type of target on your back, both for the good and for the bad. So, they can expect myself to be somebody who's, doing the right things both on and off the field, somebody who's leading both on and off the field, somebody who's, going into the community and giving back, and somebody who's going onto the field and, uplifting his teammates and giving everything he has every single play.
That's great, man. That is great. I couldn't put it better myself. Just getting to know you now here, this short conversation, I think it's going to be awesome, man. Just on the field, off the field. I think you're a really stand up guy, and I really do think you have a bright future ahead of you, wherever it may be, man. I think it's going to be an awesome ride. And this was a great conversation. I want to thank you. Why don't you go ahead and let the people know where they can find you on social media, man?
Absolutely. I appreciate you for having me today. The people can find me if you go to my website, KedrickWhiteheadJr.com, KedrickWhiteheadJr.com. You'll be able to find all my social medias at the bottom of the page. You'll also be able to find any information about me. You'll be able to find where to contact me. Anything you have. If you have any opportunities for me, whether it be community service or endorsements, endeavors, feel free to reach out.
Absolutely. And I will obviously have that link down in the pinned comment down in the comment section below as well. Kedrick, again, thank you for being on. Everybody watching this video, thank you guys so much for listening. What did you think about this conversation? Let us know your guys' thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below as well. It would be greatly, greatly appreciated. Stay tuned for a lot more coverage, not just on Kedrick. Kedrick, by the way, I'd love to have you back here on the channel as we continue to follow your NFL journey. But also, just stay tuned for everything covering the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as well. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed. And as always, folks, we'll see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs. See you guys soon.